Yo, let me try that again. Yo. Good morning, man. Welcome in, welcome in. Today's November 15th, 2022. This is Cashed It with Chris, the NBA betting podcast slash show. Appreciate you guys for getting up early in the morning with me to talk some NBA basketball, recap what we saw last night, try to find some winning plays for the day. That's what we always trying to do. As always, if you're watching on YouTube and Twitter, hit the like button for me. Retweet the show on Twitter if you're watching over there. Subscribe to YouTube channel. 2 shows a day, man. Bringing you guys, a bunch of great content, a bunch of great analysis. So do me that favor and hit the like button for me over there. But as always, let's get started with a recap. 1 and 2 day yesterday, so still not able to get all the way back on track. I made a couple live bets to kind of finish in the positive yesterday. We saw some interesting things for sure. We saw so going through the 3 plays that I had. So Chris Paul, I'm not Chris Paul. Paul George was actually the first player I was on yesterday, over 26 and a half. He starts the game off just the worst possible way that he can. 0 for 7. I tweeted out yesterday he was the last starter to score. He picks it up in the second quarter and really a lot in the third quarter. But the Rockets didn't come to play in that game. They were down. They were trailing the whole game, down by 8 at the end of the first quarter, down by 11 at halftime. And then absolutely get smacked up in the fourth quarter too. So Paul George doesn't even play, his full complement of minutes after that slow start. He picked it up a lot, and I was, really thinking he was going to get there on his points. Just because we only needed 27. He had 22, even though he started off the game so slow. And that's what I, put in the write-up. I love the volume for this guy. He's going to shoot it. He's Paul Chuck George is what his name should be, because he's going to chuck it every single chance that he gets. But we lose on that because he doesn't go over. And the Rockets come back home off of that road trip and don't look great at all, only scoring 109 points, giving up 122 to this Clippers team. And like I said, Paul George isn't needed for the fourth quarter much. And that's it's unfortunate. Let's just leave it at that. Then I also was on Trae Young. Trae Young, definitely could have got there. But he didn't. He didn't get there either. Bad shooting night for him, 7 for 19 overall, only 2 for 5 from the three. He finished with 21 points, and they had a collective effort yesterday. I talked about, not being surprised if DeAndre Hunter comes out there. I talked about on the morning show, on the evening show yesterday, the NBA Crispy Captain show, if DeAndre Hunter comes out and, gives you what he has, and he did. I talked about everything that's going on at UVA and him probably, just wanting to use the basketball court as his sanctuary. Dude goes out and absolutely balls yesterday, 24 points, good defense on Giannis, and they actually win the game against the shorthanded Bucks yesterday, 121 to 106. And then last but not least, I gave out the total, which was the over in the Oklahoma City and Boston Celtics game, and that game flew over the total. Not a lot of defense as I expected. The Boston Celtics could pretty much score whenever they wanted, even though they had a off night shooting. They had to have a come from behind win against OKC. This OKC team's extremely impressive. They like to push the pace. They run with a lot of tempo, and those guys can actually score the ball. They play extremely hard, but you see them kind of run out of gas late, as I alluded to in the tweet yesterday. So if you follow me on Twitter and you saw the tweet, especially if you got notifications turned on, then you saw that I was on live bet to take the Celtics to come back and win that game. I didn't think that they would lose the game, and they came back in the fourth quarter and ended up winning that game. So that was a nice cash as well. Before I get started on today's, let me see what you guys on. What's up, Bissy? Appreciate you being here. JR Sports, as always. KC, the regulars, man. Appreciate you guys for being here. Double B said market and points ladder all day. H-Town said, what up, Chris? Let's cash. Looking at the Jazz first half. Number 1 NBA first half point margin at home. Sneaky prop. Colin Sexton rebounds. Rebound prop. 3+. 5 out of the last 6 games. Oh, I like it, LJ. I like it. I did some extensive research on these games today, man. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna get right into it. We got a few games today. I love the smaller slate. Love when we get these teams not having to blow these other teams out. We don't have to pick and choose between these, really big spreads. So first game up, Let's go to New Orleans. We got the Grizzlies coming in here, getting a point and a half. Excuse me. I see it up to 2 now. And actually, there's not a lot of lines open for this one. Not a lot of lines open at all. So you could say getting 1 point. You could say getting 2 points. But and you don't see a lot of totals either. I saw one total on WinBet at 229. The reason for that is because there's a lot of injury information that needs to be obtained before the books feel comfortable setting that line. You get a Memphis team that's coming in here off the loss in Washington. They lost to the Wizards on Sunday in a game that they didn't have Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is doubtful for this game, and Ja is not on the injury report, so he's supposed to play. And then sticking to that side, Jared Jackson Jr. intends to make his season debut tonight, while Zion is listed as questionable with an ankle and a foot injury. So really difficult game to cap. Excuse me. Real difficult game to cap. This New Orleans team, however, they're coming in off the win against Houston on Saturday. Probably a confidence boosting win, a blowout win, but it wasn't a blowout until late. This will be their third game of a 5-game homestand. We always talk about wanting to back the team, that's playing at home consistently on the same rims. They host Chicago on Wednesday. So Memphis, they've actually beaten New Orleans 3 straight times by 27 in the most recent matchup, by 21 in Memphis. I'm sorry, 27 in the most recent matchup in Memphis, by 21 in Memphis, and by 11 in New Orleans. So this is a chance for New Orleans to get some revenge. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I do expect Zion to play today. But we'll see. Nothing's kind of set in stone. That's just based on what I'm reading. He looked good to finish the last game, so I do expect him to play in this one. I think the Pelicans, probably find some kind of offensive rhythm and groove, especially if if you get CJ McCollum feeling better. CJ McCollum has gone under his PRA line and his player prop recently because he's been like having some kind of virus, and you saw it against the Rockets. He just couldn't make shots. Shot the ball extremely poor. The game before that, I can't remember who they played against, but he also shot the ball. It was against Portland. Shot the ball extremely poor against Portland, and I think it's probably just the virus. So if he's feeling better, I expect him to have a big game. This Memphis team is not playing the best defense right now. Also, what I got, so you get this New Orleans team. They've been kind of like priced as a championship contending team so far this season, which is why they're only 6-7 against the spread so far. They come into this game off the win against the Rockets on Sunday, like I talked about, and this being their third straight game at home. So what I got on the Grizzlies side, the Grizzlies are just 1-5 against the spread on the road this season. They're allowing 118 points to their opponent, and we know that this Pelicans team can score. They're 0-2 straight up and against the spread as a dog this season with their most as a dog this season with their most recent loss coming against the Washington Wizards when they were shorthanded on Sunday. They did get into their game as dogs as well. So what I'm looking at in this game, man, and this isn't official and it isn't locked in. I want to make sure, we get the injury report news, but I think the Pelicans win this game, man. I like being able to get them at 1.5. Home favorites. One of the SDQLs that I ran was home favorites that have played their 2 previous games at home are 26-10 straight up this season. That's a nice little hit rate. 26-10, winning those games by average of 5 points. Also, on the opposite side, away teams that lost their previous game as an away dog in their next game are just 12-28 straight up, 16-23-1 against the spread, 1-5 ATS in the last 6 games, losing by average of 6 points. So I like that we can get the Pelicans, just needing to win the game by a bucket. Haven't put that in yet, but that's my thoughts on that game. We don't have a lot of player props available. What y'all thinking about that? What up? Appreciate y'all for being here. What up, DJ? Uncut Gems, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you as well. And yeah, spaces later. Yeah, we'll definitely have a show, the NBA Crispy Captain Show, 5:15. Y'all tune back in with me then. But let's keep going, man, because like I said, I've been on these games, man. So already got some looks. Let's keep going. So next game up, we got the Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs were laying 7 in this one when it opened. I saw it come down to 6.5 on some books. The total was at 212. It's come down to 211. So what the books are telling you is that the Mavs should smack the Clippers up tonight. The Mavs should smack the Clippers up tonight. You get a low total and you get a 7-point win, right? So, this should be a smack, pretty much a smack city spot. They expecting that when you see a spread at 7, the books are telling you that the Mavs should, kind of dominate this Clippers team. And first thing of note and interest in this game is that we know Luka Doncic absolutely hates the Clippers. This dude cannot stand the Clippers. Dating all the way back to the bubble, just does not like this team at all. This Clippers team, they're coming in off the win last night in Houston. Their starters didn't have to play significant minutes. I think that's important to mention as well. This will be their second road game of a 2-game road trip. But none of their starters, like I said, played more than 30 minutes last night with them, having that game in Houston in control. But Dallas hates they absolutely hate the Clippers. And you get them, I think this will be their second or third game back at the crib. They beat Portland the other day after, the bad losses to the Washington Wizards and the Orlando Magic last week. They got Christian Wood back, and, all of a sudden they look a lot better again. So real close to laying the 7. I think the Clippers, I think the Mavericks get them out of here. I think they do this one for Luka. I haven't put that in yet. And it's, it's a lot more than that. But this Clippers team has been playing pretty good defense. This Mavs teams hate this Clippers team. So I'm pretty sure they've just been kind of waiting for them. The more rested team as well, home favorite. But 7 is a big number. 7 is a really big number. What else I got for you guys? So what I'm looking at in this game, Luka, if you go look at Luka player props, and you like this, you might want to get on it a little bit earlier because the lines will fluctuate and change throughout the day. He absolutely hates this team, man. He goes crazy bananas every single time that he plays against his team. The most interesting thing that I saw was actually his 3-point line. Luka threes are at 2.5 right now on most books, and you probably can get it, without too much juice, maybe a -125, maybe a -130. Luka has crushed this line. He's made more than 3 threes. He's made 3 threes or more in 3 of his last 5 games. That's a 60% cover rate. But more importantly, he's attempted 5, 8, 11, 9, 6, 6, and 9 in his last 6 games as well. So, he's getting the volumes there. I always look for volume, right? And that's what you want to see if you're taking, somebody to hit, go over 2.5. Plus, a few of the other games were on the road. Today, he's back at his home gym. Second straight home game. Probably gets settled in and it hits a minimum, I think, of 4 threes in this one. Really like Luka over his 2.5 threes. Haven't put that one in yet. The other thing to note is, like I talked about, he hates the Clippers. Specifically. So in the last 5 games versus the Clippers, Luka shot 6 for 13, 7 for 14, 4 for 11, 6 for 11, 4 for 11. He had 1 0 for 5 game and 6 for 13. Those are his last 5 games versus the Clippers. And that's how many threes he's hit. So going over in 6 of the last 7 games, crushing this line, only hitting 4, 2 of those games, every other game hitting 6. So really like Luka today, some form of fashion. I'll be looking at his threes at over 2.5. Moving along, y'all got something on that? Nah, what's up, man? What's up with you, my brother? Appreciate you being here. Moving along, let's keep it pushing, man. I got 3 more games. I'm gonna try to get to all of them today because I got a little something in all of them. Let's talk about this Knicks and the Jazz game. So Knicks. Jazz 4.5-point favorites at the crib. Total opened at 230. It's up to 231, 230.5. I agree with the movement on the over. You get a Knicks team they're coming in off that embarrassing loss at home on Sunday to the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they gave up 145 points. This will be their first game of a 5-game road trip. Really tough 5-game road trip for the Knicks as well. This Jazz team, they're coming in, off the 3-game road trip out east. This will be their 3rd game in 4 nights after having 1 day's rest and back-to-back losses. They lost to the Wizards on Saturday. Then they lost to the Sixers in the second night of a back-to-back on Sunday. They were off yesterday, and now you get them at home today hosting the New York Knicks. The interesting thing about the Knicks right now is that they aren't playing any defense, and it's not. I think some of it is a lack of effort. But also they're missing their best rim protector, their best perimeter defender. and that their best interior defender, and that interior defender would happen to be Mitchell Robinson. I talked about it yesterday. They don't have a lot of interior size. Nobody's afraid of Isaiah Hartenstein driving to the line, driving to the lane against Hartenstein. Nobody's afraid of driving to the lane against Julius Randle. So Jericho Sims, same way. Like, these guys don't put any fear in anybody's heart, and you see the defensive rating just drop tremendously, and the opponent points just start to soar up when you're playing against the Knicks. And I think that continues when you're playing against the Knicks, and I think that continues today. I think this Jazz team gets whatever they want, whenever they want to. I don't like the first game back home. I don't like the third game in 4 nights, but I do think the Knicks get smashed tonight. So with Mitchell Robinson being out, I can't get behind this Knicks team in no way, shape, form, or fashion unless I'm taking it over. What I got for you guys as far as trends wise, the Knicks are losing by an average of 7 points on the road so far this season, with losses to the Memphis Grizzlies, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Brooklyn Nets. Right, they got smashed up by the Nets. We know that they didn't even show up in that game. So the Knicks, they're also just 1-5 ATS versus teams with a winning record. They have beat up on the bad teams, and more recently they haven't when you factor in OKC, but they absolutely are getting smashed by the good teams. 1-5 ATS against the teams that have a record above 50%. Then on the opposite side, you get a Utah team, 6th best offensive rating over the last 5 games. And the Knicks, they have the 29th worst defensive rating over that same 5-game stand. So a lot of offense versus a team that doesn't play a lot of defense. I like the 4.5 for the Utah Jazz in this spot. Also, a player prop I was looking at, haven't locked this one in yet. Mike Conley over 7.5 assists. I saw that minus 120. Dude's been on a tear. He's averaging over 9 assists in his last 5 games. Last 4 games specifically, he's had 8, 10, 13, and 12 assists. The only concern is, like I talked about, playing on the 3rd game in 4 nights. The Knicks are also allowing the 3rd most assists to opposing teams over the last 5 games. Like I talked about, just not a lot of resistance. Mike Conley is a guy who likes to penetrate, get into the lane, shoot his floater, left hand, right hand. He got both of them in his bag, but he also likes to dish the ball. We just saw Josh Giddey on Sunday have a triple-double against this team. So I like Mike Conley a lot. I like his assist line a lot. I also like the over 230. Like I talked about, this Jazz offense, they're the 6th best rated offense over the last 5 games. And I don't see this Knicks team stopping them. I don't. I know you give up 145 points. You probably put an emphasis on playing defense, but I think this Jazz team's a well-oiled machine, man. They don't have one key guy you can kind of lock in on. They shoot a lot of threes, a lot of penetrating drive. Everybody on that team can shoot the ball as well. So that's my look in that game. I like the Jazz minus the 4.5. I'll tell you guys all my officials when I'm done. Let's see if I can get to the last 2 games real quick, or if we're gonna end up saving one. So this Spurs and Blazers game, I got some mixed feelings on this one. So the Spurs are on the 2nd night of a back-to-back, and one thing I really don't like to do is bet on teams that have lost their previous game by 30 points. I don't like fading that team because typically they like to come out with whatever they got right left in the tank. But we saw the Spurs team get blasted last night. I don't know if you guys stayed up for it tonight, but the Warriors smacked these boys up last night, beat them by like 35, I think 34, 35 points, something like that. So they come into this game on the 2nd night of a back-to-back. This will be their 3rd game of a 5-game, 3rd game in 5 nights. I'm sorry, home, road, back-to-back. With 1 day in between before tonight's game, before yesterday's game. So on the opposite side, you get a Blazers team. They're coming into to this game. This will be their 1st game back home after a 6-game road trip where they went 4-2, 4-2 straight up, and 5-1 against the spread. This is, I don't know if people understand. This will be the 1st game of a 3-game homestand. But the Blazers have the best ATS record in the league. They're 11-2. No other team is even 10-3 right now. This Blazers team is the best team in the league at covering spreads to start the season by far. Justin Winslow is listed as questionable, and Nurkic is also listed as questionable. The interesting thing about this game, the revenge angle. Excuse me. Let me get right. So San Antonio has owned Portland recently, right? Like embarrassingly owned them. They've won 4 games in a row dating back to December 2nd, 2021. San Antonio last year, they beat Portland by 21 points. They beat Portland by 19 points. They beat them by 37 points, and they beat them by 31 points. They were big favorites. The Spurs were in all of those games, favorites of 14 points, 13 and a half, 9.5, and then one game they were catching 5 as an underdog, and they won all of those games. That was the first game dating all the way back to last season. So now you get a Blazers team in here that should probably have this game circled. I think it's a smack city spot. I think they absolutely smack these boys up. Especially being rested. First game at the crib is not a situation I typically like to bounce back on, like to play. But the Blazers are undefeated this year, ATS and straight up when Damian Lillard starts and finishes a game. I think that's an interesting note. And we've seen the Spurs team, we've seen this Portland team play a lot better than a lot of these other teams that the San Antonio Spurs have just lost to. They got a big win in Miami, right? Then you come to New Orleans on the second night of a back-to-back and beat New Orleans as I think they were 4-point dogs, 5-point dogs, win the game by double digits. So, all of those things are extremely impressive. Not the two things that really make me not want to play this game as far as picking a side is, like I said, you don't really want to take the team that's coming home off a 5-game road trip. And you also just don't want to take the team that just got you don't want to fade the team that just got smacked up by 35. Popovich and the boys will probably have something, which leads me to this. I like the under. I like the under a lot. I actually played the under last night. It opened at 224.5. I think that the Blazers could look a little sleepy in this spot. I think that the Spurs try to play as much defense as they possibly can. Typically, when you give up 130 plus points in the game before, you try to bring something the next night. And I think the Blazers do that. I think the San Antonio Spurs bring the defense. You look at the Blazers, this team is really good defensively. They rank really, really well defensively. I think top 10 defense in the league. I don't expect San Antonio to be able to score as many points, as they typically do. I think the Blazers bring their defense. I think San Antonio try to bring a little more effort than they did last night against the Golden State Warriors, giving up 130 plus points in that game. So I like the under 224.5. I locked it in last night. I see the total went down to 224. So hopefully that means I get some CLV with some CLV there. And I'll end right there. Because we are at the 23.5 minute mark. I just been talking. So if you guys join late, feel free to go back in, check out my analysis and breakdown of all these games. I didn't get to the Nets and the Knicks game, but I actually do got to play in that one too, but I'll save that one for later. I really do like that game as well. What y'all on in the chat before I get up out of here? Talking so much, no, nothing to drink. Like the Jazz, but first game home after long road trip. Wished it was the second game. I'm with you on that, KC. I wish it was the second game as well. Even though I still feel like the Jazz smacked the Knicks up, man. I still feel like they smacked the Knicks up today. DJ said, love Conley, 10 plus points in a win for plus 370. Might build with that. I like that too. AOD said, Chris, we love you, bro. Love y'all back, man. I love the community, man, for sure. Brian said he liked the Blazers tonight. Yeah, hit that like button for me, man. Like I said, retweet the show. It's a lot of great content in this episode because I spent a lot of time working on this card, man. 10 plus assists, DJ said. So Conley 10 plus assists in the win for plus 370. I could see that look tonight, DJ. Like I said, the only thing that scares me a little bit on Conley is just that, third game in 4 nights, with travel. So road, home. You could say, back to back to rest to back. So like the spot though, DJ. Like the spot a lot, man. And that last game that I didn't get to touch on, I really like that game too. Brooklyn coming in on the an embarrassing loss to the Lakers. This Kings team is hot. They actually own the second best ATS record so far this season at 9-3 against the spread. Typically covering spreads, and you get a small one today. You get a total that I think is a little too inflated. 224.5. We know that if Brooklyn wins, it's going to be because of their defense. They don't have a lot of guys that can go out there and score the ball, even though they will get Steph Curry back today. Ben Simmons is also listed as questionable, and I just said I wasn't going to break the game down, man. So that's all I'm going to give y'all. Tap back in with me at 5:15 Eastern time for the NBA Crispy Cap and NBA show, and we'll go through all the rest of these games. We'll get a lot more player props, but hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the content if you're not already. Best of luck to you guys on your best today, man. We're going to smack the books up later. As I always say, none of this is financial consultation. All of this is logic, it's game, it's theory, it's SDQL, it's all those great things, man. Official play though, I do want to give out. I talked about the under. I'm on the under 224.5. We hit on the under yesterday. Hopefully we can keep it going. That under comes from the Spurs and the Blazers game. Under 224.5 is what I am official on. Love Luka over 2.5 threes. Didn't lock that one in yet, but I'm probably gonna end up playing that as my favorite player prop, at least available right now. And yeah, I'll have some more looks for you guys later. I think I got like 4 or 5 things locked in, and I typically don't have that many locked in early in the morning, man. So best of luck to you guys today, man. Hit the like button for me. Always say bet with your head, not over it, man. Check the show out if you missed it already. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.